And then, kind of to wrap up this show, let's talk about something that, surprise, surprise, way less than last year. Let's talk about the injuries, and who's going to be replacing them and how we need to perform, because there are a few players that are going to be out this week, or soon to be out this week, or maybe questionable for this week, that we got to talk about. How are we going to replace them? And here's the names. We got Marcus Peters. We've got Calais Campbell. We've got questionable Lamar Jackson. Tyler Huntley is also day to day, with an injury. And then finally, Devin Duvernay. We've talked about the wide receiver spot. We haven't talked about kick and punt returner. The other spot, the Devin Duvernay, that's actually his best spot. The Pro Bowl kick returner, Devin Duvernay. Yeah. Joshua, what are you thinking for guys and how they need to step up for him?
So I definitely feel like it's going to be Justice Hill. They're going to put back there. At one point, Justice Hill, I believe he was returning kick returns.
Yeah, he's done a few.
So and Justice, when he has gotten the game and shown his ability to run, he has ran harder than ever before. He's been showing a little bit more of that straight line speed, a little bit more giddy up. So I definitely can see him, taking that opportunity and making the best of it. Excuse me, because that's what he was doing earlier this season when we was down our running back. So he's finally learned how to run. Now, when you talk about MP, someone else we didn't mention has been inactive, a little hurt. Is our dog Pepe. So it most likely be Brandon Stevens on the outside. How do I feel about that? It's kind of ups and downs. I love the story of Brandon Stevens and how he made himself to the NFL, but I still feel like he has a lot of work to do in regards of making himself, that type of elite NFL corner, because only playing 1 year of corner and trying to make that leap to the NFL. Of course, the Ravens, when they hear stories like that, they love a guy like that. Only thing is how they produce on the field. And, we have seen Brandon Stevens had good moments and also bad moments as well. And we need to, build on his strengths and make his weaknesses something stronger than what they were before. Now, when it comes to Calais Campbell, that's the only position I can say truly that I have no worry about. You hear about Broderick Washington, you hear about Justin Madubuike, you've seen Travis Jones all year out, be disruptive and be in the backfield, whether he's getting a sack or getting a tackle, or he's pushing that offensive line towards one of his teammates to get a tackle. So that, honestly, that's the safest position in regards to replacements. You got 3 young bodies that's getting to it in the interior.
Yeah, and I think, I think you got the names right, and I think, it'll be tough to see. And I definitely agree that I'm not worried about defensive line. I'm not worried about the front seven as a whole unless we're missing Roquan Smith. Mm-hmm. I think that's the one guy where if we're missing, I feel like we are really hurting.
Yeah.
And maybe Justin Houston as well. I think those are probably the 2 biggest things. But, that interior pressure with Madubuike, Travis Jones, and Broderick Washington has been pretty solid. And then obviously on the outside, we've gotten a lot out of Justin Houston. And we don't know exactly when Calais and MP are going to be able to return. The hope is relatively soon. But again, still just kind of waiting and not 100% sure. So, in the long term, maybe it hurts. I think it hurts having Calais out, hurts special teams for sure. Yeah. But I feel like we're going to be good on the defensive side of the ball. Without Marcus Peters, it's good and bad. Because I feel like, him missing time, it hurts them in the Ravens in the short term, right? Okay, well, who's going to guard the number 2 wide receiver? I think it's going to be a situation where we have to double cover the number 2 on almost every team that we face, because Marlon Humphrey's going to be in one-on-one. And I'm fine with Marlon in one-on-one. He may get beat every once in a while, but I'm completely fine with that. Let's help out Brandon Stevens. Let's get a safety over top. Whether it's Kyle Hamilton, whether it's Marcus Williams, get a safety over top and help him out. This will show, I think, the future of the Baltimore Ravens without Marcus Peters. Because I don't think he's going to be here next year. I don't want him to be here next year unless it was for a really, really cheap deal. I feel like they need to draft somebody, but this is also a tryout. Hey, Brandon Stevens, this is year 2.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what you can do. You don't have to go up against a number 2 like a Jalen Waddle or go up against a T. Higgins. You're going up against the Falcons wide receivers.
Yeah.
They have some good players, but they're not on the caliber of some of these other teams with wide receiver 2s. Well, let's see what you can do. So I feel like it's really a good proving point for him to show, like, hey, I can be a number 2 corner in this league and on this team. Because Marlon's going to be the number 1 for a very long time unless the Ravens draft a first-round corner and they turn out to be insane. And if they do, the Ravens secondary is going to be ridiculous. But, those 2 I'm not worried about. The defense I feel like is going to be fine because I believe in building a defense out by the front 7 instead. And the Ravens have good back end. People may get, convert a few third downs because of it, but I don't think they're going to get the long ball on us. But the Lamar injury hurts. If Lamar misses this week, that would be really rough.
I did trust that.
Like, if he doesn't play, obviously we can win, but man, this offense is going to look really bad. Tyler Huntley being injured, that kind of helps because we may be able to throw the ball with Anthony Brown instead. But, and then in terms of kick return, I think Tyler Beatty could be a guy that I would like to bring up just because, he did it a little bit in college. We could see what he's able to do. And it's just like Justice Hill, can he return kicks? Yes. Is he electric returning kicks? And does he have a future? No. Tyler Beatty could go back there and be really good. He could go back there and be terrible, not 100% sure. But, like, I would rather get someone where it's like, if they're really good and we say, hey, Devin, you're not going to return kicks anymore. You're going to be, like, full-time wide receiver. That's a good thing. It was a good thing for the Chiefs when they stopped Tyreek returning kicks.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll take it a step further. I like how you bring up Tyler Beatty. He can also be the gadget guy on offense. He can also be another spark to the offensive side of the ball.
That's true. Yeah, I like that. I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Because he does have catching ability.
He can run the end arounds, run the reverses.
Yeah.
That would actually be really fun to watch. I think Tyler Beatty could be a really good call-up. As someone where it's like, okay, let's see what you can really do. And we don't need to hand the ball off to him in the backfield, but we could throw him out there and run him in some certain plays, as well as being a kick specialist. So I think that'd be really interesting. I think that's a good point. But are there any other injured takes that you want to bring up?
Man, as long as we don't have Jalen Armour-Davis out of nowhere just starting, I'm okay.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we get out of JAD and if he plays and that injury and stuff like that. But everybody, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for daily Ravens content. We'll see all of you again on Saturday for the pregame show. That'll be at probably like 12:15 or 12:30 or something like that. Thank you, and see all of you again.